Artists, creatives, and designers, welcome to Dream Aloud Art, the podcast where creatives are educated on seeing value in themselves and their creations. Presented to you by RTA, respecttheartist.com. I'm your host, fellow creative and friend, Electra B. Frederick. Let's go. What's going on, y'all? What is good? Okay, so let's get right down to it because I know you're probably wondering what exactly is she talking about here? Art boss? Like what does that mean? Okay, I'm about to educate you on what my my personal definition is as far as an art boss is concerned. And I'm starting this, as a part one for what it means to be an art boss and what you can do to grow into your art bossness because it's so critical. It's critical for you to take on a particular, no, not take on. Let me say this. Let me say this correctly because I don't want y'all to like misconstrue what I'm saying. Okay. Okay. It's important that you embody what? It's important that you embody who you really are. And 99.9% of the time, by the time an artist comes across Respect the Artists, they come across my platform, Dream Aloud Art on Instagram, or they come across any of my content, 99.9% of the time, there is something in them that knows that they need to step it up a notch in some form or fashion, whether that's confidence, whether that's selling their art, whether it's selling their art in person or on the gram, whatever it is, they know that it's time. They know it's time. So I'm going to begin this again, Art Boss series as a part one. And I certainly hope that you pull something of value from it because I live to give you value. Come on now. What? Snap away. I live to give you value. And if you love to receive it, well, baby, be ready. So let's go. Let's go. What exactly does it mean to be an art boss? So, first and foremost, I feel like what is so critical and what's so important is for artists to relax some of these ideas. And y'all know that I always go back to our good friend, Merriam Webster's dictionary and thesaurus because we're not going to play these mental games with simply referencing our own ideas and the stories and the narratives of these words. Okay. Because when you hear a certain word, then it takes you back to that one traumatic situation that you're now holding on for dear life and it is not serving you. So, what we're going to do, I'm going to make reference to the dictionary and we're going to be on the same page. Okay. We're going to be on the same page for the verbiage I'm going to use. So, Merriam Webster's dictionary simply defines boss as a person who exercises control or authority. And another definition is one who directs or supervises workers. So some of you know, and I'm going to abbreviate this episode and go into this in the in later episodes. But some of you are very aware that I used to work for the government. I worked in a store level at a commissary, military grocery. For those that are not aware of that, but a commissary. So I used to work in a store. All right, so think grocery retail. I used to work in the store, and I used to stock shelves, and I used to clean warehouses, and I used to ride pallet. What is it? I don't even remember. I used to use pallet jacks. I used to ride the forklift. There we go. Forklifts and Penske trucks. Like I was definitely laboring. So I got into an internship by the grace of God, and I began moving up the ladder, as they say, moving up the corporate ladder. And I became a manager. And then I, was a store administrator and acted as a store director and commissary officer and all these titles, point blank. All of that saying that I became a supervisor over a store or a supervisor over a department. And then later on, I became a certified instructor at the headquarter level. And so I've taken, all of my history and knowledge in there, and combined that with art, and here we are. When it comes to marketing, sales, customer service, and all of that. Okay. So let's go back to boss. Sometimes we'll reference things that just trigger us to give us a reason to avoid taking ownership for who we really are. Okay. So a boss, referencing Merriam Webster's dictionary, is a person who exercises control or authority. Let's be gentle with that. A person who exercises control or authority. So I'll use a very simple example. When you're drinking water from the glass, you're exercising control. You have authority over that glass. You're exercising control in a healthy way. You're simply drinking the water. You're doing exactly what needs to be done, exercising control in order to get a particular result. That's all it is. So when we're talking about an art boss, you are a person who can exercise a healthy, let me add that, a healthy amount of control. That means that you're not scattered. That means that you're, uh, and again, we talked about an artist being all over the place, right? But there's a time and place for that. There's a time and place for that, right? We don't always, and don't get me started because when it comes to other businesses, we don't want other businesses to handle our belongings, our property, our money, like flying at the seat of their pants. So why should we do that, right? There's a time and a place to just let it all out. But then if you're exercising a certain amount, a healthy amount of control, that's imperative too in order for you to flourish the way you should, right? In a healthy capacity. So that's Merriam-Webster's dictionary, their definition of boss. And so we're going to move forward in our series with that definition. Exercising control. That's it. That's it. Don't give it any more energy. Don't give it like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to be a boss. You know what? Be a boss, meaning taking ownership of your life. Okay. Okay. Yes, y'all get me started when I'm saying okay like that. I'm trying to like get it together. Okay. So when it comes to bossy, all right, being bossy usually means, and this is according to Merriam, not usually, but according to Merriam-Webster, again, you and I are going to be on the same page, baby cakes. We're going to make this work. So, being bossy, the definition is inclined to domineer. Now, I want you to understand we're not talking about that. We're not talking about being domineering or forcefully controlling another person or forcefully controlling yourself. Let's just say that to the point of stress. That we're not advocating for that. We're not cheering that on, honey. So I don't know where you're getting all this stuff from, right? Again, we'll go back to references and stories and narratives in our mind that we're still holding. And that's the only reason why when an artist hears the word boss or just when someone hears the word boss, they're like, well, I am not a boss. You know what? You're a boss, whether you like it or not. You just have to own it. What did I say earlier with the example of the glass, drinking from a glass of water? You are exercising a healthy amount of control. When you move around, when you walk around, when you make decisions, you're exercising a healthy amount of control. And I want to put some light on this too, because this makes me think of artist confidence. And when I'm discussing artist confidence, when I'm teaching it, when I'm holding workshops for it, I remind the artist that y'all are actually a lot more confident than you give yourself credit for. Because confidence, what's rooted in the word confidence is 100% certainty. And you do a lot of things. Matter of fact, you're almost on autopilot with so many things that you act in confidence with, but you don't give yourself credit for that. So the same as far as, or the same rule would apply to being a boss. You do exercise a healthy amount of control constantly. Your body exercises control by default, but you may not put some light on that. So it's time for you to put light on that today. So now that we've discussed the definition of boss, right? Now let's talk about why you haven't bossed up. You have not bossed up. And That's neither here nor there as far as the fact that, hey, maybe you just haven't. And when I'm saying bossed up, what did we talk about? That means taking ownership. So you just have not taken ownership for being an artist wholeheartedly. Maybe you just haven't done that. But you can always change that. You're the game changer. You are the game changer. So if you haven't bossed up and taken ownership for who you are as an artist, as a creative, as a designer, you can do that today. You can do that. And one of the greatest things that I recommend is one of the greatest, and it's also one of the simplest things to do, is to actually introduce yourself as an artist. Is to actually put light on it. Do you know how many artists out here don't actually let anyone know that they're an artist? Like, it's not a conversation and they don't want it to be. And sometimes they don't want it to be a conversation for reasons that nobody else in the world even cares about except that person, except that artist, saying, well, I don't want to say it because I got boundaries and I am all, you know what? Listen. Sometimes these boundaries are putting up and you're like, I have to protect myself. Sometimes I'm just going to keep it real with you. It's just not that deep. You haven't even explored what it feels like to introduce yourself as an artist. You haven't even explored what it feels like to even make it a conversation piece by perhaps putting it in your Instagram, putting it on your Facebook account, whatever that looks like. But even at the slightest, just put a little bit of light on it. And you start to become that art boss. You start to take ownership and you start to exercise a healthy amount of control with your art as a business. And this is critical if, in fact, you want to utilize your creativity as an artist in business. If, in fact, that's what you want to do. So, as I continue with future episodes on being an art boss, we are now on the same page for what being an art boss means. Boss meaning, pop quiz, what does boss mean as far as Merriam-Webster's dictionary is concerned? Do you remember? So I'll remind you. A person who exercises control or authority, and you have control, a healthy amount of control and authority over your life and how you carry yourself and owning up to who you are. And then, of course, I mentioned earlier, right? Why you haven't bossed up. And perhaps you're holding the stories of what that means, or maybe you just haven't even thought about it. And maybe this brief podcast episode has helped you put some light on it and say, you know what? Yeah, maybe I do need to boss up a little bit, maybe a lot of it. Okay, if you're going to be real with yourself, listen. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it is a challenge to be honest with yourself, but it gets easier over time. Trust and believe. I'm all like nowadays. I just ask people. I actually ask my friends, like, do you see something that I don't see? Like, it could just be random. I'm like, do you think I need to like improve? Because that makes me better at what I do. And of course, we talked about how you can boss up, how you can start taking ownership. And that is one of the things I suggest. A very strong, it's so simple, but it's so powerful. One of the ways to begin bossing up is to actually speak it, say it. This is who you are. I'm an artist. And if you need a good reminder about being vocal and taking ownership in being vocal, like saying, okay, cool. You know what? I'm going to just start saying that I'm an artist. I'm introduce myself to people as an artist. Then go all the way back to, I believe, episode 1 or 2. I'm an artist. Go to that particular episode. I'm an artist. I believe that's what it's called. I have to look. But it's either episode 1 or 2. Step into who you are, boss up. So we're going to have more extended episodes on this, but I definitely wanted to dedicate one episode to get clarity on the definition of boss that we're moving forward with. So I know you're an art boss, like I already got that. And again, I'm so blessed to be able to take ownership, let me say that, of who I am and continue moving forward with this kind of content. You know what I'm saying? I really want to see y'all thrive. I want to see y'all do the best you can. And I would love to have you have access to these lessons, to these discussions. And here we are because you do have access. So I love y'all and get ready. Get ready to continue bossing up and becoming that art boss that you are. And we're going to give boss a new energy. We're going to give it that fresh RTA energy. Respect the artist, right? All day, every day. So I love y'all. Please feel free to leave a review. I love your reviews. I embrace them. And you can hit me up on Instagram if you're interested in having having artist coaching. I'm laughing because it all depends on my availability, but send me a DM. Let me know what's up. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Peace. Love y'all. And stay tuned for more Art Boss episodes. Peace. Artists, creatives, and designers. It has been an honor and a pleasure to spend this time with you. I'm grateful for your encouragement, love, respect, and support. Follow this podcast and share this episode with another creative who needs to hear it. Your positive ratings and reviews are highly appreciated. Screen capture this episode, post it, and tag me on Instagram at DreamAloudArt so I can show the love in return. For more information on having an artist consultation with me or for being on the YouTube show for artist interviews, check the description on this episode or go to respecttheartist.com. That's respectheartists.com. Much love to y'all. And remember, RTA stands for Respect the Artists. I'll catch y'all on the next episode. Peace from here to the Far East.